Hey, welcome to the Cyber Savvy Woman, where women business owners reclaim their power in the digital world. We shatter the myth that cybersecurity is too complex to master and transform protection strategies into clear, actionable guidance. This is your digital empowerment sanctuary, where cyber fear becomes cyber confidence. Whether you're protecting client trust as a therapist or safeguarding financial data as an advisor, you'll hear from women founders who've conquered digital challenges and security experts who speak your language. Every woman leading a business deserves to feel unshakable in her digital decisions, no matter her technical background. Are you ready to stop letting cybersecurity intimidate you and start letting it elevate you? Here's your host, Rachele Schainker.
Welcome back to the Cyber Savvy Woman, where we talk about practical ways women can protect themselves, their businesses, and their futures in an increasingly digital world. I'm your host, Rachele Schainker, a Silicon Valley technologist and owner of award-winning managed service provider, CMIT Solutions of San Mateo. Today, I'm joined by Laryssa Wirstiuk, the founder of a boutique marketing agency focused on women-owned and women e-commerce brands. Laryssa has been an agency owner for many years and recently made a strategic pivot after spending 9 years serving the jewelry industry. Laryssa, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rachel. I'm so excited to be here with you today. I'm excited to chat.
Yeah, we had a lovely pre-show call, and so I'm happy to dive deeper into what you're doing, how you got there. It was really exciting. So let's start at the beginning, I guess. Tell me how you became a business owner. What was the moment you realized, hey, I'm going to be doing this?
Oh, sure, definitely. I like to talk about this story.
Oh, great.
So, I kind of feel like I've always had somewhat of an entrepreneurial spirit, but never fully knew how to pursue it or how to bring it to life. Paired with, I have been a marketer since like the beginning of my career, 15 plus years. Paired with I entered the job market during the economic crash of like 2008, 2009, when there were like no jobs to be had. And so I learned by default how to kind of be a hustler. And I did a lot of like marketing freelance work, hopping from like one role to another,
Mm-hmm.
which, while chaotic in many ways, also helped me develop kind of more of that entrepreneurial attitude and understanding how to really manage myself and my time and to make money for myself. And also from the marketing perspective, like gave me a chance to dip my toe in a lot of different facets of digital marketing to fully get this 360 picture that I credit for like being able to be more of the strategist, higher level business owner person that I am today. So it kind of just happened.
Yeah, well, you clearly had it. Yeah, I mean, I remember I was looking for a job in '08, and I finally found one, and I was like, I felt like I had found the last job that was out there. It was a tough time, but I did not have the entrepreneur spirit at that time, so good on you. Um, and so was there a moment kind of in those early years that really did help you, something that you're doing today that really shaped how you're running your business?
So there was a point where I decided, you had mentioned I was niched in the jewelry space. So there was a point in like my marketing career where I decided to niche into that. And that was born out of like just a natural passion that I had for jewelry, an interest and a curiosity, and getting the chance to also work in-house at a few different jewelry brands and kind of understand how they were run and how the marketing kind of worked within all those businesses. And I had a particularly awful work experience that I was like let go from. But the whole experience had been so frustrating and I had felt so underutilized in my skills that I remember driving home that day from that job and being like, you know what? Like, I really want to give a go at like trying to do this on my own. And that didn't come from scratch. I had actually still continued all my hustle work. I always had some kind of like side gig going on. I always had like side clients. So this was a pivotal moment where I was like, why not try this? Like, I owe it to myself to kind of give this a shot. I've been doing it to some extent for a really long time. So,
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like, I kind of also had a similar in COVID, was like, what do I want to do? It's like I didn't like where I was during COVID, and there has to be more. Um, was it difficult for you to kind of let go of that, very defined niche, or were you kind of like, you know what, let's just broaden it and it's okay? Or was it any thoughts on that?
in the pivot away from jewelry, you mean? Yeah. It was definitely because I had been so focused on that space for about 9 years. Um, from the business perspective, I think it made sense because I could still work with product brands, I could still work with like women focused brands, and it would all translate. But I think actually on a personal level, it was more of like an identity thing for me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like, cause like I'm known as like the jewelry marketing lady.
Yes, this is what I do. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, kudos to you for like broadening that. So share with us today what you're doing and who's your ideal client and how you support them on the, e-commerce and digital.
Yeah, so I kind of niched out of jewelry and niched into the service we provide, which is email and SMS marketing, which is a pretty specific area of digital marketing. And we work, as you said, with the women focused product brands and typically like medium sized businesses, maybe like 3 million annual revenue up. It's like small to medium size, with email lists of about 10,000 minimum going up. And so we're helping them like sell products, story tell, retain current customers, and make the most out of like their owned channel, which is email marketing.
Yeah. And then do you partner with them for like when I think of my own marketing, like how does the social media happen or the website happen? Are you like collaborative with the other marketing folks or, how does that happen? I guess.
Yeah, that's a really good question. It kind of depends on the client and what resources they already have. Sometimes we are an extension of a more developed in-house team where they are handling those things internally, but we are kind of outsourcing the email piece. And sometimes we're collaborating with other agency partners that are just like us, but providing like the specific marketing service.
I see. Yeah, yeah. Interesting. I like that because it's like you can come in, be the expert on that and not have to like maybe develop the whole strategy, but can like supplement and make it work. It's very cool. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to be more of a generalist, and I don't know, marketing has gotten so complex that it's hard to do that unless you're like a big agency that's truly built out with all these like micro teams to handle all of these things. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there when you're working with your clients, you've shared with us, your ideal client, but like how do you know if you've like outgrown or what are kind of those warning flags that maybe this isn't the right client or, is there something that you watch out for when you are engaging or working with somebody just to make sure, how do you handle it when they're not a good fit?
Yeah. I would say since we are working with like small, medium businesses, they are oftentimes fairly hands on with the marketing, but there needs to be a balance of that too. Like if they are maybe, I'm trying to be so diplomatic in my choice of words.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they're not.
If they are maybe like overly controlling of a channel that maybe they don't understand or is to their detriment, like we feel like we maybe can't help that person because they're not ready to like trust a partner.
Right. I mean, I know it's an awkward conversation, but I think that's something that's important for business owners to know, like, not everyone's gonna be a fit, and how can you, like, eloquently exit yourself, or be like, listen to your gut. Like, for me, it's my gut. Like, I now know, like, in the within the first couple meetings if this is gonna work or not. And, like, before I'd be like, "Oh, we'll just make it work," and now I'm like, "No, we should listen to that." And I think that just takes time for, as a business owner to know who your ideal client is and really, like, stay there, I guess, with it. Is there a story or something that let's go back to when you first started, and then now you where you are today.
Mhm.
Is there something you would have handled differently, or is there, like, a learning, something you've learned, how you run your business differently?
Yeah. Well, actually, I think what you were just saying about this, the lessons that you've learned about like good fits and bad fits, I think when I was earlier in my business, I would have a hard time setting boundaries and I would just be like happy to get any client and we're going to make this work, even if it's like super toxic
Yes. Yes.
and not a good relationship. And now I'm like pretty fierce about like protecting not only me but my team. Like we have very little tolerance for like rudeness or whatever. We work with true like collaborators.
Shenanigans. We call it shenanigans. Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's no shenanigans here. Yeah, no, it's very true. Yeah.
Yeah, shenanigans. But that's taken a long time to get to that point.
Yes, I agree, I agree. Was there a time recently where you're like, "This was the right pivot," where, you had an excellent email campaign and, it's going really well, and, share with us about, a great what does a great client look like for you? Where you feel like, "I nailed this one." Is it metrics? Are you tracking metrics? Is it clicks? Is it sales? Or how are you tracking success?
Sure. We're tracking it in all those ways, clicks, like revenue attributed to email, list growth, and also like just general engagement of the current list to make sure those people are interacting. I think that a good fit client for us, especially at the stage of businesses that we work with, is a client that's like fully invested in the 360 marketing. So, like, what I mean by that is for email to work, you have to keep having a system and a mode of getting people on that list. So, if the client isn't serious about, for example, like paid acquisition or like a really good organic social strategy, and or their website's like very awful and nobody wants to be there, well, email can't like pull that whole load. So they also have to be serious and understand like the whole machine has to work together.
Yeah. Do they use your CRM, or do you, use whatever CRM they have?
Yeah, so we love working with Klaviyo. This is an email marketing platform. They call themselves a B2C CRM. And that's our platform of choice. We sometimes will, clients will be on other platforms, but we try to get them to go to Klaviyo just because it's really designed for e-commerce specifically.
And so does it integrate then with, Shopify and whatever the platform is that yeah, so it's all integrated.
Mhm. Yes. Yes, it integrates amazingly with Shopify. That's why we love it.
Oh, nice, good to know. I have a couple, um, people that have some small stores on ecom there, so I will mention that. You've shared with me about how, email and SMS success is really when there is a really good customer list. How what happens if there isn't, or is that part of your service also to help them build out a list, or are you kind of looking for someone who already has a good list? Like, because I know sometimes that's a challenge. I've seen that where people want to push something out or do something, but they don't have a list. And, what happens then if they don't have a good list?
Yeah, well, it is great to have a good list that A perfect situation is having a really good list that's just being underutilized. Like that is, we can like make magic happen there.
Yeah, that's great.
But sometimes we walk into a situation where maybe the list is very old, or it wasn't managed properly, and so they lost a lot of like attention. In that case, it's just more about list cleaning and about educating the client. Like we might have to email fewer people, which is always a hard conversation to have, and then educating them also about methods of growing the list, because on the email side, like we can suggest things like better opt-in forms or suggesting like tactics that might entice someone to come through that opt-in form, but ultimately traffic has to be coming to that opt-in form, and that's kind of where our work ends, and that's more the work of like a paid ads or SEO or some other strategy.
I really love how you're like so tuned into this. It's great because I've talked to lots of different marketing people. I've had lots of marketing people for my own business, and it's sometimes so broad that I feel like, um, you'll hit one part great, but then another part drops, and it's like keeping all those things. There's just no way one person or, I don't know. I commend you for what you're doing. I think it's pretty interesting. Any tips about text, SMS, reach out marketing campaign? What's the trick there? Is it the length of the text? Is it, the hook? Or, how do you look at that?
Yeah. Well, I do want to say before I give like a tip, SMSs can be a lot more complex than people realize. I think, we text all the time, so it's like, oh, it's just like texting your friend. But SMS is highly, highly regulated. And I personally know companies, thankfully not my clients, but I know business owners who have been involved in lawsuits because of SMS, that they didn't like intentionally want to create a problem and were the recipient of a lawsuit.
Sure, of course.
Um, so not to scare anyone off of doing SMS, but there are a lot of complexities and regulations and laws and best practices to follow. But tips for it, a lot of it has to do with like time of day of sends,
Oh, interesting.
like keying in to when your audience is engaged and ready to receive that SMS, and making and treating it like it's truly like a bite of information. Nobody wants like a whole wall of like text or info, and making it feel really friendly too, like you are receiving a text from a like a friend.
Right. I recently went through that authorization so I can text people, and it took some time. We had to put things on our website, we had to do disclosures, and so I have it set up, but I'm like, I haven't really done anything yet because I have that capability, but we should maybe talk offline. Maybe you can help give me some pointers of how I do this now. Yeah, because I have a list, but, I haven't done the texting yet, but we'll see. Because I don't wanna come across spammy, right?
Sure, sure.
I want it to be thoughtful and, like, add value to them and not, "Hey, do you wanna, cyber scan or something?"
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so are they correlated, like, your email marketing and your text marketing? Do they kind of support each other? Like, maybe the person gets an email and then they get a text and they kind of all tie back together?
Oftentimes they do. The strategies are complemented. Typically, SMS will be reserved for like something more, I don't know, like a sale for a promotion or a launch, something that is maybe more time sensitive, yeah, or urgent.
Call to action, yeah.
Because it's kind of hard to miss a text message, but email 40% open rates like good on a good day. So a lot of people are missing your emails. Um, and then other people treat SMS as more of a VIP channel too. So maybe SMS gets something more exclusive, like an early access or a higher discount code. It kind of depends on the brand.
Yeah. Are you busy right now? Because of, well, not to date this, but like Valentine's Day is around the corner. So are you busy right now? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like no matter what time of year it is, there's
There's always something around the corner. Yes.
something coming up. Yeah, but never as busy as in November. Never as busy as in November.
Right. Okay, that's peak. Yeah. All right. And then if somebody wanted to onboard you for like, the holiday season, how far in advance should they be contacting you? Like, what's your lead time to like put out?
It depends how well set up that brand is already. If they got a lot of work to do, we can start now. Like with some of my clients, we already kind of talk, okay, what happened this past Black Friday, and like, what do we want to already start thinking about for this year? If the brand is already really well planned, already has a pretty solid like CRM foundation, then you could probably start in like August, September, but it really depends like where they are.
Is there a mistake that do you see the same kind of like misstep with email lists over and over again? Is there something we can do to make sure our email lists are what's a good way to keep our email lists in tip-top shape?
Yeah, I think a lot of more beginners or even like beginner intermediate to email don't realize how important deliverability is or how easy it is to ruin it, I guess.
Yes, much easier to ruin it. Yeah.
Without trying, without even intending to like
Yeah, of course.
be a spammer or something like that.
They're like, "Yeah, let's send out 1,000 emails a day. That sounds great." And we never have before.
Yeah. And so, yeah, understanding like the signs that potentially there's a deliverability issue, like increasingly lower open rates or higher spam, and making sure the segmentation is supporting you emailing the most engaged people at most of the time so that you can maintain that healthy reputation, because once it turns it's really hard to recover it.
Yes. Oftentimes, a lead gen for me is people who are having like their emails aren't delivered, and so they're smaller and that's fine, but like it's not being delivered. So they come to us for help and we can generally get their DNS in order, but it is interesting when they don't know. Is there a story that you can think of a really strong product that kind of struggled because they weren't consistently reaching out to their customers? Or do you see that where if maybe you're only pinging them, every 4 to 6 weeks and there needed to be more frequency? Or is that a thing? Or, how do you gauge the frequency to make sure it's a good, you're engaging?
Yeah, well, I don't know if,
Or does it depend? Maybe does it not depend?
yeah. Like with everything in marketing it depends, but I don't know if this fully answers your question. But the first thing I thought of is brands that do have a pretty aggressive like uh new product production calendar where they're very frequently like putting out drops in new products. It's very difficult to balance like repetition and reminding people instead of just going from like new to new to new to new to new.
Oh, yeah, so kind of that interim, like, "Hey, don't forget it." Yeah, I like that. Makes sense.
Yeah, and that starts to like train your audience. Same with brands that really heavily discount or just like are constantly on sale. And then if you suddenly don't have a sale, like no one wants to buy from you.
Oh, hilarious.
And then you become like a discount brand, which not a good place to find yourself.
Um, was there a time where you made a decision that you thought was, like, risky or you weren't sure about it, but it kinda ended up being the right call? Like, and then kinda going back to, like I know we just pivoted off, email security, back to your business and how you're running it. How do you make decisions or, do you feel confident? I mean, we all feel confident, but sometimes, I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna go for that." And was it the right call? I don't know. Was there a time where you just kind of, like, took a big risk, I guess.
Yeah, I had a client who, speaking of deliverability, came to me with a list. I think it was about like 20,000. But I always start with an audit of even before they become a client. And I'm pulling this person's data and I'm like sitting there like, did I export this wrong? Am I like looking at this incorrectly? Because I had never in my life seen such bad open rates that I couldn't believe that it could have been real. And they had been sending like that for months, which means 100% their emails were going to spam. Like there's no doubt about that. Um, and so we did some like re-engagement work, trying to see like who really was engaged. It was kind of difficult to fully get a read on it. And it was unclear also the source of a lot of these subscribers. There had been like a number of migrations, so it was hard to like know exactly where these people all came from. And so I was like, you know what? Let's kind of just start from scratch. And we recommended cutting that list of 20,000 plus. I think we landed with like 2,000.
Wow.
That's how much we cut this list. And I was, on one hand, I knew it was either that or I don't even know what else you could do,
To do.
but it seemed so extreme that I was kind of nervous about what would happen. And I was nervous the client would not be happy about that. But we landed on that. We kind of started over with a brand new strategy as well, like a email strategy also. And it took a little bit, but ultimately we saw like better revenue attributed and better results even with like this tiny, I'm not tiny but comparatively tiny core audience. And I mean that was a nice surprise, but like I'm like, oh thank goodness, because this is kind of a crazy thing.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I love that story. I mean, to me, that's like sometimes you do just have to like scratch it, start over, and like rebuild it. And good for you for like hearing that in yourself and being like, that's what we're gonna do. And for the client for hearing that also. So that's excellent. Um, let's talk about technology just for a little bit, just because I love it. Was there a story where kind of technology saved you time, presented a major issue, like, or how do you use technology today? I know we're all on our computer, but what's your big technology items?
Yeah, thinking about technology internally in my agency workflow, we use Notion a lot. Um, the for content calendar planning, for project management, also to host all our SOPs or standard operating procedures for our team. And um, I was initially kind of hesitant to use it because it was presented to me as a solution by one of my team members, and I was like, I don't really want to learn a new thing, this seems kind of complicated. But it's been one of like the best tools that we now use, and I credit that a lot to how committed Notion is also to developing the platform, incorporating AI, being so easy to integrate with like automations with other platforms. And we work with a developer we found on Upwork to help us do like all these automated workflows that we integrate with Notion.
Oh, great.
And it's just been really amazing to see how flexible that tool can be.
I haven't used it myself, but I definitely have seen clients use it. I've had a couple other people, so I want to definitely check that out. How are you using AI? Is it for content? Is it for speeding up processes, or what are you looking at how to use AI?
Yes, definitely. So part of that like Notion automation, I had our developer build us kind of like a brainstorming AI tool. So basically for each client in Notion, we have a database that has things like their brand voice, their target customer, all the foundational stuff about their business, marketing related wise. And then that's also connected to a content calendar database that we build with all like the high level notes that we have to hit, all the emails, et cetera, et cetera. And we have this automation that we can prompt that pulls the client like brand data as a source, that pulls our high level marketing calendar as a source, and then helps us brainstorm additional content ideas, like calendar ideas that are aligned with like whatever's happening in that client's world plus is relevant to that specific client. And we use that to kind of supplement our own brainstorming. So that's been really cool.
Is there a time where technology is kind of improved, like, or have you seen, like, have you always used the same email deliverable, the email, what is it called? Clevio? Have you always used that, or have you tried other ones, or is that, tell me about your journey there.
Yes, I have mostly used Klaviyo, especially since we started to niche in. That's our like preferred platform. We have used others, and I mean, I've used honestly pretty much every email platform out there. And for e-commerce, like I cannot, I'm not paid by Klaviyo,
Yeah, you should be.
but just from personal experience, like we have not found a better email platform for this use case. And it has been really cool to also see how Klaviyo is changing, how they're incorporating AI into their workflows. So yes, that their platform has definitely evolved.
Does Notion tie into that? Do they tie in together, or are they standalone?
Um, those two stand alone, but I think Klaviyo now integrates with a lot of design tools. I haven't fully used all of it, but like Canva, for example. Um, Klaviyo has a number of integrations also. It does make the tool more complex, which I think turns beginners off of using Klaviyo. I think that's a main reason why people don't use it if they're not working with like an agency or an expert. But it is the most powerful at the same time, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last little section of our podcast is I kind of do a little cybersecurity rapid fire. So, password manager, or do you just remember your passwords?
Oh my goodness. I could never remember all my passwords.
Yes. All right. So you're using manage.
Yeah, so I use one pass. No, not one pass. LastPass. I use LastPass. When then my team has a collaborative one called Team Password that we use for other specific things.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. And are you on a PC or a Mac?
I'm on a Mac. I'm a Mac girly.
You're on a Mac. And have you ever been part of a data breach personally or professionally, or on the outskirts? Have you ever had to go through that, or not so much?
Um, I
You would know. Put it that way.
That's a good question. I feel like I've been notified like there was potentially a data breach, but no, thankfully I haven't had to like, yeah, no.
Yeah, okay, great. That's great. Sometimes we say it's not if, it's when, but you would know. Is there one cybersecurity habit that you're really good at? Like, do you have MFA on everything, or, how do you take care of your privacy? Because you are, have a lot of client data. How do you protect that?
Yeah, for most of, if not all of tools we use related to client work, all have like two-factor authentication, but that's kind of the default too with a lot of these tools. Like they force you into it in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. No, that's good. I mean, that's the key there, is having that MFA on. Um, and, is there a one piece of security advice you wish more business owners actually followed? Sometimes do you like work with clients and you're like, oh gosh, everything's just wide open and hanging out there? Or, I mean, do you feel like, I guess probably with the level of companies you're working with, I'm assuming they have good security. Or have you not noticed that? Maybe you haven't.
Yeah, thankfully it hasn't come up very much. I mean, I think by the nature of a lot of the access sharing that happens with a marketing agency, there are like certain levels of access to a lot of these platforms that help protect the account owner. So I would say in that regard, like nothing super sensitive is ever really shared with us, but we are very cognizant and careful, like internally, about those things. Yeah.
Very well said, Laryssa. I appreciate that. Laryssa, thank you so much for joining me today. I loved hearing about your journey as a longtime agency owner, the intentional pivot you made in your business, and how you help e-commerce brands and build genuine connections with their customers with thoughtful marketing. What really stood out to me was your emphasis on relationships and understanding your client and what they need, their audience. You're communicating clearly during moments of change and using technology as a tool to support trust and not replace it. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to the Cyber Savvy Woman. To connect with Laryssa and learn more about her work, check out the links in the show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to rate, follow, and share the podcast. And join us next time for more real conversations about business, technology, and protecting what you worked so hard to build. Thank you so much. Thanks, Laryssa.
Thanks, Rachel.
The Cyber Savvy Woman podcast requires more than a conversation. It takes action, research, and collective wisdom. If today's episode resonated with you, we'd love to hear your insights. Join the conversation and help us shape the future together. We'll be back with more stories, strategies, and real-world solutions that are making a difference for everyone. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe, rate, write a review, and share it with someone you think would benefit from it too. Hey, thanks for listening, and see you on the next episode.